It can be very annoying when you're trying to move past the things you have been through and your past keeps popping into your head. That narcissist keeps popping into your head, and no matter how much you try, you can't seem to shift them out. With a narcissist, they rarely to never give you any form of closure. We are often left ruminating about what they did, what we did, what they said, what we said. Are they the narcissist? Am I the narcissist? Trying to move on with our lives is very difficult while we are stuck thinking about the past. There's several methods and techniques to use to get them out of your headspace, and it's all about finding the technique that works for you. So this video is going to be about pattern interrupt. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with in your life, how to handle those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you overcome narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. One of the very first things that we do have to give ourselves is closure, and closure is unique to you, whatever method you find to give yourself that closure, to release yourself from the past and to move on with your future. Going to a narcissist for closure often doesn't give us the closure we would like. It often leaves us more frustrated, or if we're still trauma bonded, we can be going for closure in the hope that we can build some form of relationship up again, cutting people out of your life to someone who cares about others, to someone who feels remorseful, feels guilt. It's a very difficult thing to do. However, we have to begin to recognise that some people are toxic, some people are not welcome in our lives, so that we can make room for people that are like-minded, that come from the same morals, similar values, even if they go around those values or beliefs differently. As they have similar values and beliefs, we can work with each other rather than a toxic person that's always going to be working against you. One of the first steps to give yourself that closure is writing down the truth of the situation, writing down everything that they did to you, and then making sure you've got something to pick yourself back up afterwards. Thoughts are incredibly powerful, so when you're writing it down, it can bring your emotional well-being down. So either having a supportive friend around, having something you can watch funny on TV afterwards, looking for something that you would like to do with your life afterwards. If you're thinking of doing a course, or thinking of buying a home, whatever it is unique to you, something you can focus on positive afterwards. Writing down everything they've done to you and then putting it to one side. And then when you pick it back up, go back to it the next day, pick it back up and read through it as though that's happened to somebody you really care for deeply. What advice would you be telling that person? Because sometimes we are our own best advisors. It's just listening to that bit of information that lets that light bulb click so that we can process and move forwards. And don't destroy it until you're ready to destroy it, because sometimes narcissists have that knack of not treating you badly all the time. So sometimes we can have that memory, and if they're coming for the hoover and we've got that positive memory about them, it can trigger so many emotions and get us doubting and questioning ourselves again. And at that time, it's good to pick that back up, have a quick glance through, remember who they truly are and not fall for their games. You can also write down anything that you would like to say to them. Do not send it to them, but you can write down what you would like to say to them, and you more than welcome to add as many insults as you like. This is your personal journey. Some people feel bad for them. Some people need to get through the anger and resentment that they hold towards somebody who has taken advantage of them. And these are normal feelings, normal emotions. It's normal to feel resentment towards someone who's taken advantage of you. It's normal to pity someone when you realise that they don't know any different. It's who they are as a person. As long as you can find a way to move on with your life, it doesn't matter. Just work through your feelings. It's the same as forgiveness. So many people say, I'm not going to forgive them after all they've done to me. You don't want to forgive them and take them back because they will repeat their behaviour. However, staying locked in that resentment, staying locked on holding resentment towards them, and it's a feeling you do have to process, but staying locked in that feeling keeps their power over your emotions. It keeps you trapped in that negativity. Forgiveness is never to forgive what they have done to you. Forgiveness is for you to release and let go of that person and recognise you're never going to allow them to do anything like that to you again. After a narcissistic relationship, you might go through a period of struggling to get out of bed, struggling to do the day-to-day routines, and that's a case of where you just need to keep getting up day after day after day and keep achieving one task a day, whether that is getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, having a shower, and recognising the things that you are doing, but driving yourself forwards, adding a little task every day to get you motivated again, to get you to find yourself again and keep going. We do have to go through the grieving process. It's not a nice process, however, it helps us move forward. Some people hit the ground running and get busy and get motivated and get active. And sometimes it can hit a few months later. However you do it, you've done what's best for you. So when you're getting along with day-to-day life and that thought pops into your head, it is a memory. Those memories can trigger all sorts of different emotions. Those emotions can cause us pain. It can cause us to question ourselves, and it can interrupt our day. Pattern interrupt is one method to learn to shift that back out. Pattern interrupt is like when you're doing something, minding your own business, and they crop into your mind. They've interrupted your thought process. So you've got to purposely interrupt it again, recognizing that it's in your mind. Seeing if there's anything you need to work on or work through. Is it telling you anything that you need to do? Anything that will help you, not hinder you? And then throw the thought back out. Think about something else. Consciously bring something into your mind that you do want to focus on, even if you're just focusing on what you are doing in that moment. If you are cooking your tea, if you are driving, you should always focus when driving. If you are driving your car, we go on autopilot when we drive a car. When you're learning to drive, you pay close attention or closer attention. You should always pay attention to the road. You do pay closer attention to the road. You pay closer attention to where your hands are on the steering wheel, the indicators, the gears. When you are learning those first few lessons, you pay a lot more attention than when you've been driving 10, 15 years and it just comes naturally to you. It's just on autopilot with you. The more you practice recognizing that thought has come into your mind and shifting it back out, focusing on something you are doing in that present moment, the more it will become autopilot. Yes, it takes work to begin with. However, if you keep practicing, it does work. When you're in those low moments and you're feeling really overwhelmed and you've got so many things that you need to do and you're struggling to get up and achieve those things, but by not achieving them, it's making you feel worse. Set yourself 5-minute tasks. Set yourself an alarm on your phone. When that alarm goes off, there is no snooze, there is no setting a new alarm. You are going to tell yourself, and it is you, it has to come from you, it has to come from your own drive and determination. So you might have to tell yourself, if I don't get up and do this, I'm going to feel worse. Others, you just have to focus on, I am doing it, I am doing it, I am doing it. Set yourself a 5-minute task. Set yourself an alarm on your phone. When that alarm goes off, get up, do that 5-minute task, and then reward yourself. Tell yourself that you have done something, that you have achieved something. If this was someone you cared about, if you have children, if this was your child and they've just achieved something that they really didn't want to do, either because they haven't learned how to do it or because they didn't want to do it, you would be trying to lift their spirits. So you have to become your own best friend and start lifting your own spirits. Start recognizing the power that you have within your thought process. Writing a list down can help. Don't overwhelm yourself with massive lists. Start off with a small list that you can tick things off to recognize that you have achieved something. We are showing our brains that we can do things, and the more we show our brains that we can do them, the more our brains start to believe in them, and the more it drives us forward to achieving more. If you're feeling down, or if the thought pops into your head, put on a funny movie, go for a walk outside, soak up the atmosphere, look at photos of happy memories that are yours. Find something that picks you up. Making a playlist of upbeat, uplifting songs, having a dance around. Everybody can dance. You might not be able to dance in tune to the music. You might not be able to dance how someone that's been choreographed, if that's the right word, to dance to a song, but you are still able to dance. And if it makes you giggle, all the better. Every time negativity crops into your mind, every time pain, every time sadness crops into your mind, make sure you don't need to learn something from it. And some of those lessons are harsh, which is why it's always advisable to have support. Every time something negative pops into your mind, break that cycle with something positive. Every time something comes that saddens you, break that cycle with something that makes you happy. It's like losing a loved one. It's tragic losing a loved one, and there's so many painful emotions that we go through with losing a loved one. Those painful emotions aren't going to bring that loved one back. They just bring us down, and we can feel bad, we can feel guilty moving on with our lives. However, if that was you that had passed away and your loved one was suffering, you'd want them to be happy. So remembering the fun times with them, remembering the things that they taught you, remembering the things that made you laugh, can help you process the loss, the death of a loved one. When it comes to a narcissistic relationship, this works another way around, because you are losing someone that is very much still alive. So then you've got to break the thought process, because once we start remembering the good times and reminiscing about the good times, ruminating about the good times, it then keeps us trapped in that pain that we've lost that person. This is when we need to focus on the negative times to remind ourselves as why we need to break free, so that we can find those positive times for ourselves or with somebody who treats us right. Positive affirmations. So when you're telling yourself you can't, you've got to tell yourself, I can, I will. If something crops into your mind, again, acknowledge that it's cropped into your mind and tell yourself, I don't want to think about that anymore. I want to think about this, and start thinking about things that are going to drive you forward in your life. Your thoughts are your power, a bit like your emotions. Your mind controls your emotions, you control your mind. So looking at those emotions, seeing what those emotions are teaching you. Painful emotions are often teaching you it's time to step away from something, and it's time to move towards something that's going to bring you joy, that's going to bring you happiness. With pattern interrupt, it's all about breaking that cycle, breaking that thought pattern within your mind that works against you and creating one that works for you by finding the very things that help you, which in essence helps you find who you are as a person. If anyone has any advice on what helped them shift out of that negative cycle and what helped them get the toxic ex out of their headspace, please do add that into the comments, as you never know who's reading that it might help. Thank you very much for listening, and go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Remember, you do deserve to have a happy life. You do deserve to have an amazing day, and you have the power to create that for yourself. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.